Спасибо. Я передаю слово Рави Гилани. Thank you. Доброе утро. Good noon, in fact. May I request everyone to raise their right hand as high as possible. Is it the highest you can raise? Is it the highest? Is it the highest? Thank you. You see, this is the essence of theory of constraints. For me, theory of constraints is about surfacing assumptions and invalidating them. Initially, when I requested you to raise your right hand as high as possible, it went like this, small, small, small. And then light bulb went up. My friends from Ukraine started. They stood up and somebody climbed on the chair. You see, no stage I had asked you to raise your right hand and remain seated at the same time. Whose assumption was it that you have to remain seated? Yours. When you challenge that assumption, the improvement was quantum, significant improvement, not incremental, major change happened. TOC actually helps you surface the assumptions and find ways and means to challenge them. And then you can get huge results in a very short span of time. Assumption. Okay, I'll do it for you. I'll sit here and do it. No issue. Sorry? Okay, it's quick. You can change it. I'm going to share today what is the goal of the company, what's the current reality, and it will change. What you see here? What is theory of constraints? We each one have our own definition. Eli gave his definition. I'll give mine. Constraint identification. And there's a special word called cash constraint. Today I'll cover in detail the cash constraint. Tomorrow will be a master class. But today it's almost like a trailer. And what are the stages in which we go through the cash constraint? And non-linear impact of change in cash. Linear and non-linear, I am assuming everyone understands. Linear means a small change in cash will make a small change in the overall performance of the company. Non-linear means a small change will have a big impact on the overall performance of the company, both positive or negative. And how do we go in implementing various steps? And lastly, we'll have some questions, answers. You can also stop me anytime if you want to ask a question. So startingly, what is the goal of the organization? Customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction, or making money? There is no conflict between the three. You choose anyone, the other to become the necessary condition. Does anyone have a difference of opinion? Please ask me now. I'm waiting for your answer. I'm stating the goal of the company is to make more and more money now as well as in future. Or in short words, 4M. Make more and more money. 4M. Not 3M, but 4M. Making money is also an index of customer satisfaction and employee satisfaction. If you are making more money, then customer must have been satisfied. Otherwise, you cannot make more money. Sooner or later, the customers will. If you are not satisfying customers, sooner or later, the customers will walk away. Similarly, if you are not satisfying your employees, sooner than later, they will start leaving. There are 3 good financial parameters: net profit, return on capital employed, and free cash flow are good enough parameters for financial health of an organization. Anybody from finance background here? CPA? Yes. Do you agree that if any company achieves all 3, then the company is in good health?
Yes.
Yeah? Good. Thank you. Now, an important question. What is the purpose of measurement? I would like some answer from the audience. Yes, I'm asking, what is the purpose of measurement? Why do we measure anything? Why?
To know the reality.
To know the reality.
To control.
To control.
To make better in future.
Wonderful answer. The only purpose of measurement is making a decision for improvement or taking a corrective action for improvement. Do you agree? Yes? You can raise your hand, you shake your head, we can communicate other than language also. So many times we make a lot of measurements but not make enough corrective action or decisions. For example, you get up in the morning and you're not feeling well. You have slight fever. You put a thermometer in your mouth, take the measurement, and throughout the day, every hour you're noting your temperature, but don't do anything. Neither you go to the doctor, nor you take a medicine. Does it really matter whether you have taken the temperature or not? What do you think? So know the current situation doesn't help you. Unless you take some corrective action, how does it matter whether you took the temperature or not? Is that right? So my request would be to think about it. Only purpose of measurement is corrective action or a decision for an improvement. Do you agree?
Yes.
One small thing. My teacher, Ellie Goldratt, said something: be approximately right than precisely wrong. Let's say you have a temperature, it shows 102 degree Fahrenheit. Does it matter whether it's 102 or 102.1? Your decision to take a medicine or go to a doctor will not change. Do you agree? Many times we waste tremendous amount of time in trying to calculate the financial parameters very accurately. It's a waste of time. Be approximately right than precisely wrong. Check with your translator, am I speaking too fast? The only purpose of measurement is taking decisions or deciding an improvement action. I'm going to now share with you what happens in India. This is the data about India. How many companies could increase their profits for a continuous period of 10 years? Not today. This happened, this report was 12 years back, from 95 to 2005. There was a report by Economic Times, September 24, 2005. They measured how many companies have declared, we don't know whether they made, declared their profits slightly more than the previous year for a 10th consecutive years. And just about 23 companies have declared less than 1%. And the goal of the company is to make more and more money. Hence, as for agreed definition, less than 1% or 99% companies were not making money. Why? What do you think is the reason? Something is missing. And I'm assuming what's true for India is also true for other countries. It's an assumption. In your opinion, how many companies in Russia or in this region would have declared profits continuously going up on a 10-year basis? How many? Any idea? Will it be significantly different than what we had in India or similar? Every company would have a limitation in making more and more money. Every company, no matter which company it is. Imagine you are a manufacturer, only manufacturer of Viagra in the world, only manufacturer. Nobody else is allowed to make this drug. Will you make infinite profit? Come on, I want some response. Will you make infinite profit? Infinite. I'm talking about infinite. You will have a limitation. Even if you have no manufacturing limitation, you have a limitation of the number of people who can take this drug. It will be limited by the number of human beings on the earth, correct? So every organization will have a limitation, upper limit. We call it constraint. Constraint to me is the moment you improve the constraint a little bit, its throughput goes up immediately. It doesn't take much time. Every for-profit organization will have a constraint either in market, you don't have sufficient orders, or capacity, or maybe you don't have the supply, or the worst constraint, what I call cash. You don't have vitamin M. M stands for money. Current constraint may shift, but it cannot happen that there are no constraints at all. One constraint can shift from A to B, but it cannot happen you have no constraint at all. That's not possible. An organization can be compared to a chain. One fundamental thing, the global improvement is not some total of local improvements. Let me explain through some example. The gentleman on my extreme left, on the front row, share your favorite name of your favorite actress. Sorry? Okay, the next gentleman. Come on, don't be shy. Yes, actress, I'm assuming. Okay, what about this gentleman? Yes, gentleman. Okay, wonderful. Now, we learned a concept called best practices in an MBA class. Take the best portion of the first actress, then join to the second one and join to the third one. What will you get? You know, you won't get a good actress, it will be lousier than all the three of them. So global improvement is not sum total of local improvement. Do you agree? Another example, very simple. If you take a drink, let's say you like wine, you like beer, you like whiskey, or vodka. Each one is very good. Let's make a super drink. We mix all three of them. What do you think will happen? It will be worse than anyone else. You know it. I don't have to explain you that. If you make such a cocktail, what will you get? You will puke. Most of the time, organizations spread their energies thin. Let's do improvement everywhere. Specifically, when they're not making money, everyone should tighten the belt, everyone has to improve. The assumption is if everyone improves, the whole system improves, is totally, utterly wrong. And just to be very, I would say, sophisticated, in the TUC world we say, optimizing a subsystem will sub-optimize the whole system. It means the same thing as the first line. And it means the same thing, wine plus beer plus whiskey plus vodka is horrible. That's what it means.
Good cocktail.
Sorry?
Good cocktail.
Good cocktail. Good cocktail, maybe, maybe not. So let's look at it. How do we identify the constraint? Today, most companies in the world believe our market is down, slow down, recession, meltdown. We hear many such words. Let's check. Do you have a constraint of market? In my definition, you have a constraint of the market only and only if you have 50% of the world market. 50%. If you don't have 50% of the world market, don't say market is not there. You may have shortage of orders, I accept it, but not market. If you are a typewriter manufacturer, maybe you have a constraint of market because there are not too many buyers of typewriters. How many of you know something called slide rule? Engineers? Slide rule? When I passed engineering 45 years back, we didn't have electronic calculators. We used to have an instrument which used to slide. Today, if you are a manufacturer of slide rule, there will be no buyer. I understand that. But most companies do not have a constraint of market. Yes, you may be making computers and not many people are buying. That's okay. But the total number of computers being sold is very large. Let's look at it. You can have a order constraint. You don't have sufficient order. I respect that. Possible. Most companies have this problem. Or this constraint. Let me not use the word problem. I call it constraint. Let's check if you really have an order constraint. Do you deliver more than 95% of your orders on time and in full? OTIF. If you don't deliver your current orders on time, what do you think will happen if you get more orders? Will you deliver more or will you deliver less? Some response, please. More or down? Yes. So most companies I have observed are unable to deliver or not delivering current orders on time and in full. Now, what is the meaning of on time? 1 day late, score 0. 1 item less, score 0. 1 number less, Score 0. My experience is, I have not seen many companies who are delivering even 50% of their time on time in full by this definition. So 95% is very far. So most companies who complain that we have a shortage of orders, let them first check, are you delivering 95% on time? You do have an order constraint. If your quoting is 90, 95%, in high 90s, don't get stuck by 95. It means high delivery performance, highly reliable delivery performance. That's all I'm saying. Most companies don't have quoting from 95%. Let's look at it. What else could be their constraint? Can I ask a question? How many of your companies can raise their hand who deliver 95% on time consistently? I'm requesting some response here. 3. Very good. Let me check something. I check the following way. We call it Bedford Plastic Guarantee. What does it mean? There's a company in the US which says if we are late by 1 day, 30% off. If we are late by 2 days, 50% off. Every subsequent day, another 10%, and after 7 days, free. Are you ready to give this guarantee? The 2 gentlemen and the lady, I'm asking you, are you ready to get this guarantee? Which means there is a scope for improvement in your delivery performance. That's all. If you're ready to offer this guarantee, then I respect that you do have an order constraint. If not, then you should look at it. Can you deliver more reliably? Any question at this time?
Я чуть-чуть переводчика поправлю. Там вопрос, пример, что есть компании в Америке, которые говорят о том, что если мы опоздаем на день, 30% скидка, на 2 дня 50, дальше по 10, если опоздаем на неделю, вообще бесплатно получаете. Вы готовы так работать? Не готовы или не работаете?
У нас загрузка примерно 99,5% мы отправляем вовремя.
И в полном объеме без пересадок.
Да. Есть 0,05%, которые все бывает.
Готовы рискнуть? Сделав такое предложение?
Нет, рискнуть-то можно.
Вложить в цену надо тогда. Такой риск.
Это как компания-то в Америке. Давайте мы продадим все, что у нас есть.
They are not ready to risk.
They're not ready. Which means there's some doubt. That's all. You're good, but you have to look at it. Perhaps you could sell even more if you could give this guarantee. Then you will get significantly more. Look at that possibility. Okay, I'll move on. So at this stage, we have ruled out market or order as a constraint. Why? Because your quoting is less than 95%. Now let's look at it. If you have to deliver on time, you need to get your supplies on time. Do you get your supplies 95% of time on time? If you get your material in time, 95%, and unable to deliver 95% on time, that means the constraint is in your operations. Is this clear? If you get material on time, but unable to deliver on time, then the constraint is in your operation. Operation doesn't mean manufacturing. It is the way you're operating your company. It could be a machine is your bottleneck, doesn't have enough capacity. Maybe your procedures are a problem. Maybe the way you are giving commitment, your sales and marketing people are giving commitment to the customer itself could be a problem. Knowing fully well that we cannot deliver, they go and commit it just to get an order. That also happens. So if you don't get your, now the next question is, this time you're not getting supplies on time. If you're getting supplies on time and not delivering, then operation is a constraint. But if you don't get supplies also on time, it's next to impossible for you to deliver on time. So let's look at it. Do you pay your suppliers, your vendors on time? Almost 95% plus. If you pay your vendors on time and yet you are unable to get your supplies on time, you have a constraint of suppliers. You pay on time but not able to get on time. Now let's develop further. Do you consume 50% of the world consumption? I'm doubtful. I have not come any company in the world which consumes 50% of the world consumption. If you don't consume 50% of the world consumption, then you cannot complain suppliers are a constraint. There are suppliers, but you are unable to get from them. Why? You have a policy constraint related to suppliers. Let me explain with a real example. The only time I worked with a multinational company was in 2004. Asia Brown Boveri, ABB. How many of people have heard this name? ABB. A few of them. We took a target of increasing the profit to 4 times current profits in 1 year, without investment, without increasing people. The bottleneck was 1 tank for the transformer. We were not getting enough supplies on time. What was the reason? There was a policy called L1. Lowest price supplier has to be given order. Lowest price. But he was not delivering on time. How often you have the same problem that we have to buy from the lowest price vendor or the one who gives the highest credit, or you have to buy from a sister company. It's a group company, you have to buy, you don't have a choice. Or the vendor is a friend of the owner. Or the worst case, the supplier is giving me some money under him. It happens. Can you see that sometimes we have, if you're paying on time and not getting supplies on time, it is your supplier policies are the problem. Now we come down to our topic, cash constraint. If you don't give money on time to your supplier, you have no right to get supplies on time. And now because you do not pay the money on time, the supplier delays it, and because supplier is delaying material on time, you are unable to deliver to your customer on time. I call this, now you have in the situation, we call it cash constraint. I'll elaborate in more detail now. You have cash constraint only and only if you have orders. Order means OTIF less than 95%. Manufacturing capacity, right suppliers, but you don't have cash to pay suppliers, and they will supply only if they receive money upfront. They say, we are not going to give you any credit, pay money now before we give you the money. Because they have no confidence on your ability to pay money later. Does it happen? Anybody in this situation? I'm asking. Is anybody in such a situation? Where supplier says, I will pay, give you money, okay, you have. However, cash shortage does not necessarily imply cash constraint. There is a difference between cash shortage. If sometimes you are not able to supply to your vendors on time, they are crying, they are cribbing, but they are not delaying much. And you are not suffering. Delivery, because material is not available, then you may have a cash shortage but not cash constraint. However, if you don't manage your cash shortage correctly, rapidly, you will get into cash constraint. For example, sometimes we may have a bad cough, sore throat. You don't have pneumonia, but if you don't treat it well, there is a possibility that you can get into pneumonia. Is this analogy clear to everyone? You may have a cash shortage today, but not cash constraint. But if you don't manage it correctly, sooner than later you will get into cash constraint. Okay. I'll repeat. Sometime you are not been able to pay your vendors on time. They are crying, they are grieving, but not delaying the material. You have a cash shortage, but not cash constraint. But if this situation continues for long, then you will get into cash constraint. Is this clear to everyone? Thank you. So once again, what are these conditions when we say we have cash constraint? First, sufficient orders, OTIF less than 90%, 95%. Enough manufacturing capacity. Utilization is of no machine higher than 90%. So every machine has capacity. Every resource has a capacity. Sufficient suppliers. Material shortage. A small increase in cash will increase sales, throughput, on time in full, profit and available cash. I'll explain in more detail in subsequent slides. I get a small cash, I give it to my vendor, he supplies me the material. I have enough capacity, I have enough orders, I make it, sell it to the customer and collect the money. So a very small increase in money will immediately increase all these parameters. Now I'll explain the non-linear cash impact. A small reduction or increase in cash impacts organization significantly in a very short period of time. Very short period of time. So let's say there is a company, net sale is $100 a month. Totally variable cost is about 50%. Operating expenses are about $50 per month. Cash to cash cycle time is 1 month. Let me explain what does the cash to cash cycle time means. Money going out of your bank to money coming inside the bank is 1 month. That's called cash to cash cycle time. Check deposit is not okay. Customer has sent the check, not acceptable. It is the money going out to money coming in as per the bank statement is cash to cash cycle time. Current capacity utilization is just about 50%. So let's see what happens. Okay. Here. We start with $100 cash. The fixed expenses are $50. So money left after meeting the fixed expenses are $50. Our totally variable cost is 50%. So from these $50, I buy the material and make it to a sale of $100. And at the end of the month, I collect the money and I'm left with $100. Is this clear to everyone? And next month, again I start with $100. This is the same as here. And that cycle keeps on repeating every time. So we are just about survival. Just about survival. Neither going up nor going down. Now let's see what happens when a small reduction happens. We started with $100. Fixed expenses were $50. Money left over was $50. We made into a sale of $100. But unfortunately, one customer is deducted $10 for a quality issue. He said, now your grade was defective, I'm not paying you $10. So what we are left with is $90, the same as here. Is this clear? Now let's see, we start second month with $90. Money left over is, after paying operating expenses, $40. Sales will be $80. Money collected is $80. Next month we start with 80, same formula, it comes to 60. Fourth month we start with 60, we come down to 40. And the fifth month, we have no money to pay our fixed expenses and just a small decrease, nothing much. A little bit less and you are gone. Any questions? Because this is a very important slide. It's a non-linear impact.
А возможно продажи, почему у нас 80 стали?
Потому что материал меньше купили.
Там деньги для закупки 40 ставят.
Предполагается, что нет такого финансового
Поясните, 80 я не уловил, возможно, продажи это 80. Почему?
К 40 100
Okay. You see, in the second month, the starting cash is $9. Okay. Understood. Okay, fine, thanks. Now, from 90 we go to 80, then to 60, then to 40, and then to 0. A small decrease. Let's go the other side. This time, there is a slight increase. Please, yes, that's right. This time, somebody gave us $10 extra. Or we sold some old material which was lying around not usable and we got $10 extra somewhere. Maybe the government gave us a tax refund of 10, for whatever reason, but we got $10 extra. Now we start with 110. 50 is fixed expenses, leftover is 60. We convert it to 120. And we collect also 120. Third month, we start with 120, 50 is my fixed expense, 70 is the remaining balance money for buying the material. We convert it to a sale of 140, we collect 140. Fourth month, we start with 140 and we go to 180. Now something interesting happens in the fifth month. We are starting with $180. Fixed expenses are 50, money left over is 130. But I'm saying we'll make a sale of 200. Why? Because my capacity utilization, now capacity becomes a bottleneck. My maximum sale which I can do is no more than 200. So I buy material out of this 130, I buy material for 100. 30 is left over. Convert sale of 200 and the net money available is 230. Same thing happens next month. So we end up at 280. So a small change here can make a huge difference both going up or down when you are in cash flow. Is this clear to everyone? Any questions? No question. Okay. Now let's look at it When you are in a cash constraint environment, what is the typical things happen? High level of infighting. Everyone is blaming everyone else. Top management busy managing one crisis after another crisis. They have a pressure to pay the taxes, they have the pressure to pay utilities, they have the pressure to pay employee salaries, they have the pressure to pay to the bank, they have pressure to pay to the vendors. They are tearing their hairs apart all the time. Employee morale is very down because when you are in pressure cooker situation, I'm assuming nobody enjoys that. People start leaving. This is not the company where I want to work anymore. And there's a race against time. You can see you are going down the hill very rapidly. Very little time is left over. Time bomb is kicking. Now, how do we waste cash? Purchase more than immediate requirement to take advantage of quantity discount. You needed only 1 ton of material, but you buy 2 tons. Oh, I was getting 5% additional discount. But in the process, some other material which was required is now, money is not available, and you can't use even this 2 ton also. Another stupid thing we do is combine supplies to get freight advantage. Local optimization. But use more than immediate requirement for better capacity utilization. My utilization will be better, my efficiency will be better. As if efficiency is the goal of the company. Then another important thing, not selling obsolete material below purchase price book value. Many times you can survive only by selling your old stock. Just by selling old stock, a small increase can help you get out of cash constraint very rapidly. Now, what are the stages of cash constraint? Overdue payments to suppliers are increasing. First, typically is you start delaying the payments to the vendors. Then suppliers start deliveries resulting in material shortages. Then payments to the banks are delayed. Then some statutory payments like social security, etc., which you have to pay to the government, they start getting delayed. These terms are, you are not into that. That's fine, that's okay. Do you have to pay, along with the employee salaries, something to the government fund somewhere? Along with the salaries? In Russia, is that common? So those payments are now getting delayed. And top management is spending all their time in allocating cash. Everyone is fighting, give me this cash, give me this cash. The finance manager is in a very severe situation. He doesn't have money, he doesn't create money, he only allocates cash. So what are the implementation steps? First step is to accept reality, and most people do not accept reality. Let me explain. Most CEOs or top managers, when asked, do you have a cash constraint? No, we don't have cash constraint. The beauty is, almost everyone in the world knows that you have a cash constraint, except the owners or the CEO not accepting it. When you don't pay your employee salaries on time, when you're delaying the banks not paying on time, when you're not paying your vendors on time, do you need to explain? So when you, I don't know whether you have domestic servants in Russia? Domestic servants? Yeah? If you don't pay your domestic servant on time, it doesn't matter how rich you are bankrupt. It's very obvious. It doesn't need any explanation. So first layer is we have to make sure that owners, CEOs, decision makers accept that they have a problem of cash. To convince them they have a problem of cash, we request the company to prepare a 13-week cash flow. Each week. Why cash flow? Because frankly, if you don't make profits, doesn't matter. You can still survive so long you have cash. But if you don't have cash, nothing else matters. Why 13 weeks? 1 quarter, 3 months, a quarter is 13 weeks. It's a good enough time to see whether you can survive for next 3 months or not. Top management team to have clear picture for next 13 weeks. Now what are the challenges for creating 13-week cash flow? We have, on the books, there is a lot of inventory. Many times, companies put higher value of inventory just to get higher loans from the bank or to show increased profits to the shareholder. Fool the world, but not yourself. Unfortunately, while fooling the world, we start accepting our own stupidity. Significant difference between total receivables and collectible receivables. Receivables are account payables, accounts receivable from our customers. Many times customers have already said, I'm not going to pay you for quality defects. But in our books, we still maintain as if the money is still collected. No agreement between accounts and sales and receivables. This is a very common phenomenon. Accounts are saying we have to take 5 million. Sales marketing says, no, we have to only collect 4 million. We don't have agreement within the company what is the money we need to collect from our customers. Does that sound familiar? So first get agreement of the top team on usable inventory for next 30 weeks. I'm not saying whether it's obsolete, not obsolete. Okay, tell me, are you going to use it in next 30 weeks? Just get agreement on that. Then total overdue and due payments that can be collected in 13 weeks. Okay, whether it's there or not, I don't care. Will you collect in next 3 months or not? Get agreement on that. Total money that you intend to pay that must be paid to in the next 13 weeks so that you can get the required raw material. What will be the operating expenses for 13 weeks? Including you might have to pay some past overdue expenses, etc. Now you have made a cash flow statement. Important parameter is, many times when we make this cash flow statement, there is a negative cash coming in some weeks. One thing about cash, you can have positive cash, you can have zero cash, but you can never ever have negative cash. Do you agree? Can you have your saving account in your personal account where there is a negative cash? You can have zero, but not negative. You can defer purchases. Use air rather than sea or short lead time vendors, though it may be more expensive because it consumes less cash. Collect receivables even at significant discount from customers. What is the interest rate operating in Russia these days? Is it around 15% approximately? Okay, what is the interest rates in Russia these days? I think it's about 15%. 15% enough? No? More? More. How much? 20? 24? Okay. Now, there is a customer who says, I'll pay you 1 month early, but I want 5% discount. 5%. Should we do it or not? I'm not talking about small. Sorry? 60%. It's not 60%, it's more than 60%. It is 5% compounded monthly. It is much beyond 60%.
Yes.
Now, we'll show you most likely tomorrow that many times, even if you pay 10% per month, it makes sense to get the money fast. I'm not talking about 1% per month, I'm not talking about 2%, sometimes it could be 10% per month. Get advance from customers by offering lucrative terms. instead of giving them a credit of 1 month or 2 months, say, we'll give you a discount of 10%, 5%, but you pay advance. It will make more sense. We'll see. Sell obsolete, unusable material, even a deep discount. Significant discount. It's a good material. But right now, I'm not going to use it. Most of the time, even if you sell it 50%, it will still make sense for you. Create a sense of urgency and modify current commitments. Sales, most companies measure sales, stop measuring sales. Free cash flow. Today I will not be able to explain in detail, but tomorrow I will. Free cash flow may be simple. Free cash flow is the simplest thing to understand. It is the increase in the money in your bank. As simple as that. How much is your overdue payments? What is the cash in hand? And most importantly, stop measuring sales, market share, efficiency, etc. They are a waste of time. Next is balance current inventory. Many times we have inventory for next 3 months overall, but next one not for next 1 day. Why? Because you use many items, but one small item is missing. I know of a company which was manufacturing large electrical motors. An electrical motor worth $250,000 was waiting because one small part, nameplate, was not available. It happens in almost every company. For a very small item, the whole shipment is stuck. Prioritize. The priority should be for balancing inventory at hand rather than continuing existing purchasing practices. Most companies purchase in large quantities and they give order monthly. Why monthly? Why not daily? And then we have something called full kit. Don't start an order unless you have all the material together. Full kit, all of them, not small portion. Prioritize all existing orders in a sending out of material requirements, cash required, more detail tomorrow. But here one small thing. Any priority is better than no priority. Any priority. Next is elevate induct cash. In case all the previous actions are not enough to get you out of the cash constraint, maybe additional cash can help you. Remember, we added a little 10 and we could jump off like anything. In a cash constraint, because it operates in a non-linear, a small increase in cash is sufficient to take you out of cash constraint. However, cash must be inducted in one go above the survival cash. Now, I'll take 10 minutes extra. I'm running behind the schedule. My motive is poor. Adequate survival level is that level of cash that would be just sufficient to surviving forever. Look at our first $100. If $100 is available all the time, we would have survived if nothing wrong would have happened. Here is a formula. It's not very difficult. N is the cash to cash cycle time. O is operating expense. And the word T is the ratio of sales to totally variable cost. We'll detail it out, explain tomorrow in full detail. Minimum cash induction is the difference between adequate survival cash less current cash in hand. If you have just about sufficient cash, survival cash, like the 100 one, we have to see what is the adequate one. And that gap must be fulfilled in one go. If cash inducted at one's go is less than minimum, it doesn't help. Let me explain. Our survival cash is $100, but unfortunately, we have only 90. We have the 50 as operating expense, leftover is 40, we collect 80. Survival cash is 100, but we only induct $10. We don't induct full 20, but we induct only 10. So what happens? We are again left with 90. We keep on inducting 10 after 10 after 10, and the moment we stop inducting additional one, we are bankrupt. Is this clear? Now let's see. This time we did something else. We inducted in one go. Instead of 10, 10, 10, 4 times, we inducted 30 in one go. Just in one go, we inducted 30. Now something very interesting happens. Our opening cash now is 110. 110 will make it 120, then 140, and then 180. And sometime here comes to 230. Can you see that this time we have inducted only 30? We did not induct 40, as in the previous case. We inducted 30 and we have tons of money left over. So either give it full dose or don't do that. Cash velocity, this is a parameter. I will not explain today to confuse you here right now. More detail I will do it. This entire thing I will cover in full detail tomorrow. All I can explain to you here is for most companies, the cash velocity is above 50% per month. 50% per month is the cash velocity for most companies. So even if you have to give a discount of 10% to get money 1 month early, it makes sense. Or borrow money at 10% rate of interest, not 1 to 5%, 10%, it still makes sense. Or if you can get additional credit from your supplier, even if you have to pay 10% higher, it still makes sense. These are some actual results that companies got out of cash constraint in rather very fast. And right now we are fortunate that someone who is in a little bit of a cash constraint situation, they have tried to do some of these very small things. We just started about almost a month back. And maybe Mikita or Vladimir or Alexei can share your views, your experiences in the last 4-6 weeks.
Готовы поделиться?
Пока не готовы.
Sorry?
Not yet, maybe tomorrow when we prepare some.
Okay, that's fine. They are not comfortable at this moment sharing it. That's fine. All I can share with you here is you can get out of cash constraints rather rapidly if you can just start thinking differently the way we have been operating. There's a company where I'm right now working. It's a large company, $2.5 billion company. It reduced its working capital, inventories and receivables by over 500 million, and that inducted enough cash so that they're surviving today. These are some actions you can start taking. Start measuring EBITDA, reduction in receivables, reduction in inventory, reduction in advances from as suppliers. This is what I call cash score as a prime parameter to be measured. Detail cash velocity for all orders before accepting all the terms. Evaluate sending small quantities instead of large quantities even at somewhat higher freight cost per turnover. Consider purchasing small quantities instead of large quantities, even at somewhat higher cost per ton. Wow. Some questions, quick questions. I'm already over time, but yes, I can take one or two questions.
Задумались?
No questions? It means only two things. Either it was totally clear or it went totally over the head. I don't know which one.
А можно вернуть вот слайд, где вы вот 10% добавляли, где 30%?
Там была моя ошибка в переводе, на этом слайде.
Лишняя строчка.
Нет, не лишняя, а неправильно торопился и скопировал. Видел, деньги необходимые в следующем месяце стал.
Ну они вообще лишние, потому что возможные продажи добавленные деньги, из них все как раз улучшает.
А если, ну, вопрос такой.
Микрофон возьмите, пожалуйста. О,
Если деньги...
говорите.
Слышно?
Ну, это важно.
Я так скажу. Если есть ограничение оборотных средств, есть возможность добавить деньги, но объем добавляемых денег недостаточно для того, чтобы выйти вот на показатель минимально необходимого. Что делать?
If you don't have adequate cash, don't induct. It's a waste of money. Either induct full or don't do it. Most of the time, we do not need additional cash. You have enough cash lying in the company and you can manage through that most of the time.
Спасибо.
Thank you. Thank you very much.